Every man has been through this. The meeting, the spark. She looks at you with such interest as if you are the only one in the world. And then, silence. No words, no explanations, just emptiness in the chat. You reread old messages, searching for where you went wrong, but there is no answer. Your heart tightens from not understanding. You replay the same scenario in your head night after night. Friends say, forget her, but the wound doesn't heal, leaving a trace of distrust. Or you do your best. You call on time, help with problems, always stay in touch, and she walks away to the guy who is rude and ignores her. You feel betrayed because you gave everything and got a punch in the gut in return. Sometimes it repeats. New girl, same hopes, same ending with no warning. You start doubting yourself, thinking that the problem is you. Years go by while you search for answers alone. Now, here is a secret that will flip your understanding of every interaction with women. They don't come to you by accident, and not because of romance. They have one goal, and when you understand it, all the pieces will fall into place. Some women gravitate toward men who give them what they lack. This is not magic, emotions, or destiny. It is cold calculation, sometimes conscious, sometimes on the level of instincts. She sees in you a source of something specific, confidence that makes her feel alive, resources that promise a calm tomorrow, status that opens doors to the elite, or even biological qualities for future offspring. This choice happens instantly, like a radar locking onto your strengths. She evaluates not appearance or words, but the hidden potential of benefit for herself. There are no accidents, there is always a motive. The brutal truth no one voices. It is not your kindness or morals that attract her. Value attracts her. You are not needed as a perfect human being, but as a supplier of advantages, qualities, connections, emotions, or opportunities that improve her life. This is not a human flaw, but a basic survival mechanism. Yet those who are blind to it pay the highest price: a broken heart, an empty wallet, years spent in illusions. You waste your energy on those who see you only as a temporary resource, not a lifelong partner. In the end, you are left with questions that have no answers and a sense of your own uselessness. Remember an acquaintance of mine, a golden-hearted guy, feeds stray cats, fixes fences for retirees, never gossips, and ends up without a single second date. His neighbor is the opposite, selfish, manipulative, changing women like gloves every weekend. Why? The neighbor radiated value, charisma, risk, adrenaline that makes the blood race. My acquaintance had ideals but no visible value. You can invent a cure for every disease in your garage, but if she sees no shine, you are a zero. You can be loyal as a rock, but without signals of strength, you do not register on her radar. Harsh? Yes, but a fact. Women ignore those who do not cover their gaps because time is currency. Every minute with the wrong person is a minute lost with someone who can give more. It is not malice, but optimization for biological clocks and social expectations. Time is limited, and they do not waste it on those who bring no benefit. You remain invisible, even if you carry treasures inside. Here lies the tragedy. Real value is useless without packaging. There are geniuses hiding their talents, millionaires living like they are broke. Their fate mirrors that of true losers. Inner potential is dead if it does not shine outward. Look at peacocks. The tail is not for hunting. It makes them vulnerable, but it screams to females about strong genes. Humans are the same. A sharp suit, a car with character, a watch on your wrist. These are not just objects, but beacons of your power to acquire and dominate. Women are not just hooked by the shine, but by the story behind it. Without external signals, you lose the chance to even start. Now comes a twist that destroys every illusion about love. Imagine, you give a woman everything she passionately desired, fully closing her deepest needs, and suddenly her interest dies out like a flame under rain. You spend years climbing to the peak of your own value, winning her attention with that glow. Then you hand over all your resources entirely, and fall into the abyss of loneliness. Not because you suddenly became worse or spoiled, but simply because her inner hunger is satisfied and you are no longer a source of excitement. This was seen firsthand with a friend entrepreneur whose story hits like an electric shock. She fell for him madly during the building of his empire, in those insane 18-hour days soaked in sweat and a vision of triumph that fascinated her every evening. He finally hit the peak, sold the business for huge money, retired young, and showered her with the gifts from the wish list she once whispered about. But a year later, she left for some rookie startup guy who was still risking everything. Turned out she did not need ready-made capital in a bank account, but the relentless warrior who could earn it again from zero, with the thrill of battle. Attractiveness collapses the moment any of her requests gets closed 100%, with nothing left. The potential is exhausted, and the question hangs in the air: what next if the summit is already conquered? Your attention is now entirely at her disposal, and it turns into the boredom of everyday life. Her own value has been confirmed once and for all, and cold indifference replaces the previous tension. All the pressure that kept the connection on the edge just evaporates, taking the original pull with it. But the opposite extreme is just as destructive. If you give nothing, hiding your value completely, she will simply leave, starving to the limit. Bare potential without a drop of realization breeds irritation and impatience in her, and she will run to the first man who offers at least something tangible. Long-term connection requires a delicate balance. Feed her just enough that she wants to stay and invest in you, but always leave a hunger for more through secrets of your world, constant growth, and a hint of mystery. It is like feeding someone dying of hunger. If you give nothing, he runs off searching for food. If you dump everything at once, he gets full, overfed, and loses his appetite forever. But if you give a bit with the promise of more, he gets hungry again and returns with double desire. Attraction stays alive and pulsing precisely when your value flows like a constant river of upgrades, never going stagnant. This is not about clever mind games or manipulation, but a natural, eternal growth process that separates a living bond from routine. If at 40 you remain an exact copy of your 30-year-old self, with no freshness or progress, why should she hold on to such a static figure? But if you evolve constantly, sharpening skills to razor's edge, multiplying your achievements, and deepening your inner strength, the source of attraction never runs dry and always promises new horizons. The best couples observed in real life work exactly like this. The man does not pour all his energy into the relationship. He keeps powerful fuel for himself, for ambitious goals, passionate hobbies, and personal missions beyond the couple. She clings to him tighter each day because she keeps discovering new layers of his character, constantly facing unexpected challenges and freshness. Relationships work like the perfect career ladder in a top company. They do not give you everything on day one, but hand it out piece by piece, base salary first, then bonuses, promotions, public recognition, always keeping the lure of the next level ahead. Too few rewards, the employee quits in search of better. Too many at once, he relaxes and loses drive. Human bonds live on an endless cycle. First, the thirst for emotional closeness, then its satisfaction. Next, the thirst for intellectual fire, then adventure, then stability, then novelty, and the cycle repeats, never letting the flame die. As soon as you stop actively creating value, the connection begins to wither before your eyes. A man loses his attractiveness when he truly believes that past sacrifices automatically guarantee future loyalty. 10 years of total devotion mean nothing if, during that time, your inner spark faded and your energy ran out. Real connections live only in the present moment. Yesterday's feats are secondary, and the key to maintaining the bond is the fresh, living value you offer today and promise tomorrow. There was a client after 20 years of marriage. He was the perfect provider, devoted father, and reliable partner, but right after the wedding, he froze in place. Same job, same stories at dinner, no evolution. She did not leave him for another man, but for hope, for change, for something new and inspiring. Ignoring these natural laws breeds endless pain and chaos. Men blame women, society, themselves, anyone except the real mechanics of relationships. They cling to myths of unconditional love, eternal loyalty, and the credit of accumulated effort, as if people were machines that never fail. Reality works differently. Jumping from partner to partner, like from branch to branch, is absolutely logical. It is not a search for the ideal, but a pursuit of maximum benefit. One source is depleted, a switch to the next one that promises fresh opportunities. It is pure survival strategy, not a moral issue. This is why some women choose men, others call problems, the trader with his whirlwind of risk, the dominant leader with emotional intensity, the broke artist with a rebellious spirit. These guys bring a special kind of value, surges of adrenaline, a sense of danger, explosions of emotion that stir the soul. The calm, stable, nice guy loses if she is currently hunting exactly for a spike of excitement. Even physical attractiveness works under the same rule. It is not the muscles themselves that fascinate, but what they symbolize: solid health, iron will, powerful discipline. A fit body changes the game not through some magic, but by sending a clear signal of inner strength. Money is obvious on the surface, but its essence is not in bundles of cash. It is in the promise of a carefree tomorrow, luxury, and peace. A rich but dull man loses to one who has less money but can deliver the taste of real luxury through emotions and experiences. Emotional magic is an underrated success secret. The ability to make her tremble with excitement, feel completely safe, and burn with desire is so rare that people are ready to fight for it to the end. The attention economy has completely changed the rules. Women collect likes, comments, and DMs as a real currency of self-worth, and men turn into providers of this resource in an endless stream. Ghosting is no accident. You gave your portion of attention, but someone else showed up with a brighter or bigger offer. The friend zone is a quiet imbalance. She draws emotional support, and you invest friendship hoping for romance that never comes. A portfolio approach became the norm. One partner gives emotions, another financial safety, a third passion, a fourth social prestige, and no one is required to cover everything at once. For her, this is perfect efficiency. For you, it is complete collapse if you lived in the illusion of exclusivity. That sudden coldness is actually the outcome of months of careful calculations when the cost of the relationship exceeds the perceived benefit and the door just closes. Chemistry between people is a subconscious scanner of value. No spark means not attractive enough, and the fire is raging means instant recognition of real treasure. Getting back with an ex is not a rebirth of feelings but pure math. The new partner disappointed, you grew, and her options shrank. It happens not out of romance but due to pragmatic recalculation of the balance. Sometimes she comes back because external conditions shifted in your favor. After 30, biological clocks tick louder. There is no time for vague prospects. She wants a ready, mature harvest right now. Time pressure forces focus on immediate benefit. Connections and networks are another key. Often interest is sparked less by your personality and more by the doors you open. Once those contacts are drained, it is time for the next stage. Validation works like a mirror. Your eyes reflect her beauty and desirability. She feeds on that and then looks for a new reflection. Status-based relationships are transparent from the start. She offers freshness and attractiveness. He offers resources and position. But any imbalance ends in renegotiation or breakup. Experience becomes a trophy collection. You are a bright chapter in her stories, not a lifelong companion. Backup plans line up in tiers. The elite in her sights, you as plan B, and more reserves below. Tests come disguised as pointless fights or sudden whims, probes checking your resilience, confidence, and resources. One wrong move, and you are out of the game. Devaluation sneaks up silently. Initial admiration turns into small nitpicks, then open contempt. This is not sudden rage but a cold realization. your benefit is fully extracted or outdated beyond use. The process stretches out to avoid conflict. In this system, the man is consumable, drained, discarded, with no extra sentiment. The provider hits a trap. The house, car, and comfortable life are already secured. What else is there to offer? Her attention fades at a terrifying speed, just like the early excitement of a new encounter. Passion breaks into stages, novelty for intense bursts, reliability for a long foundation, and often different people play those roles. The renovation gaze sees you as a project. The appeal lies in the improvement process, which then loses its taste when the work is done. Comparison rises to a global level. You are not competing with the neighbor, but with the whole world in her feed. Apps accurately show her market price, and stability looks like defeat in the face of chaos. Fear of missing out on the ideal blinds her. In chasing perfection, she overlooks a very decent option right under her nose. Age shifts shake priorities. The rebel is replaced by the reliable builder, then by the creative soul. These turns happen suddenly and confuse everyone. Social proof rules everything. If other men show interest, she is engaged. Lose that her attraction can vanish instantly. Your investments of time and effort do not create debt. They are seen as voluntary gifts, not a down payment on a shared future. In a big city, the abundance of options changes the approach. Why work hard on one relationship if a new option is just one swipe away? Nature's double strategy is obvious. In peak phases, a pull toward strong genetics and power. In others, toward resources and stability. After a breakup, your strengths flip. Care gets labeled as pressure, support as manipulation. Social media turns relationships into a storefront. The perfect photo matters more than quiet happiness off camera. Your sacrifices stay invisible, while her emotional efforts are invoiced every single time. The paradox is that many crave protection and stability, but in total, safety, boredom, and a longing for risk are born. The career elevator works on strict rules. You become a stepping stone to her professional rise. You open doors to the right networks, offer mentorship and opportunities, and as soon as the goal is reached, she calmly steps off and leaves you behind. The therapeutic role is even more insidious. You help her process trauma, regain confidence and emotional balance, and then she leaves for a new partner, already in an updated, healthy version of herself, full of energy for fresh adventures. The placeholder is a quiet, temporary role. You fill the void while she looks for someone truly fitting, and as soon as the ideal appears, you are replaced without ceremony. Timing seals fates. Even a perfect man can pass by if he appears at the wrong stage of her life, when her priorities do not align with your strengths. Recovery after heavy relationships amplifies this. You get tied in her mind to a period of pain and healing, not to the triumph of a new chapter. So once she recovers, she cuts the tie. Rebound relationships run on contrast. After grey routine, she throws herself into a whirlwind of emotion. After a storm, she looks for a quiet harbor. But as soon as novelty fades, your importance evaporates. Modern culture quietly shifts the balance. Some women try to get the maximum while investing the minimum, expecting one partner to cover every need alone. Resentment accumulates gradually. Her modest efforts trade for your massive sacrifices, and the mismatch breeds mutual accusations. False advertising misleads you. At the start, she paints herself as a devoted partner, then reveals a fully independent figure with totally different expectations and no way back. Value inflation makes the ordinary seem worthless. Average achievements look like trash against idealized online stories where every post promises a fairy tale. Extraction runs on autopilot. She expertly pushes emotional buttons, taking benefits fast and efficiently, seeing it not as manipulation, but as natural optimization. After the breakup, the performance begins. You turn into a monster in her stories so she can justify leaving and save face. Good men suffer from blindness. They offer stability to those who crave adventure, emotions to those who want resources, and fail because of a simple mismatch. They truly believe their kindness is universal, but in reality it leads straight to disappointment. Even those who play the extraction game burn out over time. Constant calculations and switches turn them into brakeless machines incapable of real closeness. Now everyone knows the rules by heart, and dating has become a battlefield. Each side protects their resources while trying to take the others, and connections snap at the very start. The way out is simple and powerful. Learn to read the value exchange. Choose only those who reciprocate. Generate your own value non-stop and diversify it. Develop strength, intellect, and status at the same time. Do not reveal all your cards at once. Dose your investments in response to her effort, creating balance. A rich set of options becomes your shield. Know your real worth, keep alternatives ready, and walk away without regret from any imbalance. There are women ready for an honest, equal exchange. Seek them consciously. Accepting this reality brings inner peace. Forget myths about unconditional anything. Every relationship lives on a running account of fresh contributions. Understand the mechanism, and you gain power. Create value constantly, guard it fiercely, trade it wisely and selectively. True winners do not waste strength on resentment. They master the process, attract the worthy, and build life on their own terms. Share in the comments what value was taken from you without fair return. At what moment did you realize the balance was broken? Let's break down real stories together so other men can avoid the same traps. Knowledge becomes a reliable shield for your mind, your money, and your future. Subscribe to the Psycheria channel for brutally honest breakdowns without sugarcoating or pink glasses. See you soon in the next videos.